quick hacks. We're here for what actually lasts. This is the long game, where PR meets relationship marketing. Real talk, real leaders, and real results. We're cutting through the noise to show how credibility, connection, and consistency builds brands that endure. So whether you're an overwhelmed digital marketer, a business owner trying to stand out, or a thought leader ready to just level up, welcome to the long game. Because building something that lasts takes heart. So let's welcome your host, Jeremy Knopf and Jessica Suter. Let's go. Yay! Happy Tuesday, everyone. We are happy to be back here for the long game. And today, Jeremy and I are going to be breaking down the best events based on our opinion and some that you guys have sent in, events to attend in 2026 if you're playing the long game. I'm not talking about the ones that have the best swag bags or the best, headline speakers, but the events where real relationships are built and that really help you expand not only your brand and your brand growth, but also those connections that you can have that will last over time. Those events that really just are a pivotal moment in your brand. So welcome back, Jeremy.
Welcome back to you too, back from the dead.
I know, literally. But no, I'm excited for today's show because it's that time of year, right? We catch up after January, after the holiday break, and we're looking at, okay, what kinds of events should we be attending or maybe send our team members to this time of year? And there's so many that are out there ranging from free to thousands and thousands of dollars. So how do you pick the best events to attend? And potentially, we'll give you a short list, of course, all of the audience here of the ones that we're recommending, especially as it relates to marketing and business in general. But how do you pick the best events to send your team? So, Jeremy, I want to ask you the first question. What do you think makes up a great event or conference?
I find that a lot of people look at it from the wrong perspective, first of all. You talked about, the big name speakers or the swag or the big flashy photos and all that shit. Honestly, it really comes down to the people. And this is something you and I are both very passionate about, right? Like building the right relationships. And, some of these, it's just a numbers game. How many people can we put in seats in these events? How can we maximize the revenue from the event? But then you've got these events, a lot of the ones that you and I go to, where it's not like that. It's not this big elaborate production focused on who can look the flashiest. It's more about who can bring the most value to the relationships that are going to be formed in those rooms. And for me, that's what it's always been about. I've been on tons of stages just like you have. And, you don't get as much out of it when it's focused on the wrong thing. So for me, it really comes down to, am I going to meet the right people, whether they be clients, whether they be partners, some kind of collaboration opportunities, things like that. That's what I always try to focus on.
100%. Cannot agree with you more. I've even been to some events. And have you heard the term LobbyCon before?
I have not heard it, but it draws a picture.
But you just hang out in the lobby conferencing it because, some of your close friends are going to be there. And that's what drives you back to that event. And sometimes it's not even the sessions, although it should be both in an ideal world, right? Having really great topics that are going to make changes in the business. But you're right. Relationships are the things that really attract the right people. Because as you mentioned, we've both been on multiple stages. I've spoke at big conference. I've spoke at smaller conferences and industry, conferences that are kind of in the middle. But there's nothing worse than just going to an event and where you're up on stage and then they quickly rush you off. And it's keep the speakers over here and the attendees over here, and we're not going to mingle together. And it's just quick in and out. It's very much like a showed production where you don't have time to build relationships with some of the people that are there that really could make a difference. And I think I know one of the ones you're talking about. We'll mention it later, where you and I met actually, and we're able to not only, it was a smaller event, well done event though, brought brilliant minds together. And that event, even though smaller, way mightier in my opinion, because one, we made connections with people where now we're collaborating together. Two, there's business that is has been done. I've been sent referrals. I've sent off referrals to people where we've both grown our business because it was focused on relationships. And overall, I would expand that to say like an overall experience, right? So the
Mhm.
experience of focusing first on the people that are attending, and how to get them to mesh well versus just selling tickets, like you said.
Yeah,
Agreed.
there was something interesting I noticed from that particular event. And for anyone who doesn't know what we're kind of vaguely hinting at here, this was the Innovate Summit out
Mhm.
in Kentucky. Um, One of the things I noticed about that event, you've probably been to events where you're out in the lobby, you're talking, you're making your connections, you're doing what you actually came there to do, and the event organizers are coming out there, hey, come on guys, we need you in the seats, we need you to fill the room, we need you out here, but because they want those good photo ops, they want the guy on stage or the girl on stage to be, their ego pumped up a little bit because the room is full. And I get that, but like we never got that sense at the
Mm-mm.
Innovate Summit, right? Like you're wherever you are because that's what makes sense for you. That's where you're getting the value from, and they're not really hounding you to put you in the seat so that they get those great photo ops.
Yep.
And like I said, I see both sides of it, right? As an event organizer, you and I have both put together our own events. I see both sides of it, but at the end of the day, the people have to get the value out of it. Otherwise, they're not going to come back.
100%. And I love that the other thing about the great events is the events where the organizer really looks for feedback and you can tell that they really care. They're asking for feedback. They want those connections to happen and they stay checked in with you. So it's not just a, hey, I'm going to have you buy a ticket. I'm going to host this event and send you on your way. And then I'll talk to you again when I have ticket sales available again. They're really
Yes.
brainstorming. And Brian Wallace, it's the host of the Innovate Summit, does a great job at this as well. And that's, where Jeremy and I met. But I think that definitely speaks to the quality of the event and what you're going to get out of it. You can tell by how the event is organized and the people that are behind the event and putting it on for sure.
Indeed.
But what do you think people want more of today from events in order to invest in attending? Because I've noticed and I've heard, at least, I haven't noticed this with all events, but I've heard this where more event organizers are struggling to get people in the seats because
Yeah.
they're getting information online. What do you think it is that makes the difference?
Well, so the information is certainly part of it, right? We're going there to
Mhm.
learn something. Um, and I don't know that, in fact, I posted something about this aspect, not directly related to events, but more specifically to coaching. I don't think it's just the information. It's the person that you're getting it from. It's the sense of community that comes with that.
Mhm.
A lot of people I've seen lately talking about how coaching is going to go away because of AI. Well, if you
Mhm.
were, if it's just purely the information and your coach can be replaced by AI, they weren't a coach to begin with.
Yep.
And I look at events the same way, right? If you've got an event and, you could be having people teach great information from the stage, which a lot of events have great information being taught from stage, but it goes deeper than that, right? In a lot of
Mhm.
cases, maybe they're teaching something like, the stuff you teach, the information is only a small part of that equation. It's
Mhm.
also the kind of personal touch that comes with it afterwards, right? You can get up there and give the best presentation in the world, and yours are amazing. But
Thank you.
when people go and turn around and now implement that information, they're going to have 10 times more questions than they had when you first
Mhm.
walked off stage. So they need that personalized touch. They need that advice, that hand holding to kind of walk them through the process. And I think that's what a lot of people are looking for. And then the other side of that same coin is it's not just the information, because like you said, we can get the information anywhere.
Mhm.
It's also the collaboration, right? I can do a lot of shit on my own, but
Mhm.
I can accomplish a lot more when I collaborate with other people.
Yep.
And finding those other people is a hell of a lot harder, just through social media or just in your local area versus you're out at an event with a bunch of like-minded people who are also looking for others to collaborate with. So I think that's what they're looking for. Yes, they want the information, but more importantly, they want that sense of community and they want people that they can work with, whether it be from a client perspective or a collaboration perspective.
100%. I think they're looking at like, how are you going to support me for the long game? You know, right? So it's not just give me this presentation, but yeah, what does it look like afterwards? So like I see some conferences have an app, but then they shut it off right after the event, like when you need it most, right?
Do you use those apps, by the way? Because I
I
never.
don't. We build our own. So we keep it live all year round so people can stay connected. And then we update it, of course, with the new attendees, and we give everybody a heads up like, hey, we're now rolling in the new round of attendees this year and speakers. So just a heads up, we're making the switch, but it stays active until the next event goes live. So
I like that. I've never used one of those apps. I take that back. I did use the Wova app, I think was one.
oh yeah.
For
Yep.
one of the events that I was at where I was a speaker, but I don't want another app to install. Like,
I know. Ours,
no.
yeah, ours definitely have an app, but we have a web app too. And then we also use, call me old, but a Facebook group. It still works, where we post updates in it all year round. And one of the best things I think that keeps people coming back is they know that they can post their questions all year round in the Facebook group
I love
and
that.
get it answered. So like when Meta makes a change or something's new, we can quickly record a video and post it in there, whatever. And people build, the friendships and attendees start answering the questions too for other attendees. So it's a good rapport building, and that we don't change. We keep everybody in that group.
I love that. And
yeah.
that gives them more impact at the event itself because they have longer to actually start developing these relationships and nurturing them.
Yep, 100%. Yeah. So, I mean, I think you've already answered this, but one, do you feel like attending events is still valid?
Oh, absolutely. I
Mhm.
mean, you and I are still putting together events. If we didn't think there was value in it, we wouldn't be doing that.
100%.
I'm a big fan of it because, a core part of my business is, building people's authority, and being at an event, especially when you're a speaker, that is an authority symbol right there, right? You're up there being asked to speak on stage. That says something about who you are and the insight that you bring. So there's tremendous value to that. But I think, even beyond that, you're going to learn a lot more in a much shorter time period at an event than you will, just studying something online, whether it be through AI or some course or some tutorial or something like that. So I think they're still just as valid. And especially in this post-COVID world, people want to get out and they want to connect with other humans, right? So many of us are working from home. We're kind of isolated a little bit. So, I think people still want that in a very big way.
I feel like it energizes you too when you get outside the norm. And when you go to an event and you're not working too. I always try to say that. Like, I understand you might have to check emails or whatever at night, but
Yeah.
like you get you get out what you put into an event. So I feel like there's definitely still valid echo everything that you just said, Jeremy, as well, because I feel like when you go there, like you said, you can get the information, but you also know who's on top of their game within each niche, so you can
Yeah.
go and save that as like a resource then to follow back up with. And I highly recommend, if you're planning on attending these events that we're about to mention some of our favorites, to look at the sessions ahead of time, like, and have your goals in mind first. So like one of mine last year was learning more about like AI and how to implement different things for the company while keeping that relationship marketing foundation, so it's not taking over, but we're synergizing the two, together to work, to collaborate. And so I made the tracks for me related to that. Other team members that were going to different events, what their goals were, and making sure that they already had like their tracks kind of planned out if it has multiple tracks at the event that you're going to, so you can get the
I love
most out
that.
of it.
And that's such great advice. I think a lot of people go into it with kind of a, fly by the seat of your pants approach. I'm just going to go and we'll just, whatever happens, happens. And, that's a huge missed opportunity, because if you go with intentionality, you're going to get a lot more impact out of it.
Yep. 100%. All right. Let's start sharing some of our favorite events then.
All right, let's
You
do
want
it.
to share yours first?
Well, so I've got a few that I attend regularly. We talked about Innovate, so I guess let's start there.
Yeah, sure.
So the Innovate Summit, that's one hosted by Brian Wallace. So far every year it's been in Kentucky, but I don't know if this is public yet, but fuck it, we'll roll with this.
I'm talking with him tomorrow morning, so I'll find out.
Are you? I think I have a call scheduled with him for tomorrow. No, I think I'm Thursday.
I'm at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Early bird, right?
Yeah.
So I think he's considering moving it this year. Um, in any case, it's a great event, a lot of really smart people, and it's not like industry specific, right? It's more focused on innovation and just the
Mm-hmm.
wild creative things people are doing to solve various problems. And one of the things I love about this is Brian has put so much effort into making it a collaborative environment where people are actually getting tremendous value. It's not about filling the seats. It's not about these
Mm-hmm.
flashy photo ops. It's really about getting the most value out of it for all of the attendees. So that's what I love about this one. Every time I go, yes, I learn a lot. I pick up a lot of tips from the speakers,
Mm-hmm.
but I get so much more from the conversations that happen on the sides.
100%.
And, every single time I come away with like, it will spark some idea. And now I've got this whole new project to run with because just some random conversation sparked an idea that then expanded into this whole new thing. So that's what I love about that. And it's just, there's such a diverse, and not in the stupid woke way, but there's a diverse group of people in terms of the industries that they're in and the thought processes that they have and how they approach things.
Mm-hmm.
So I find that it really opens up your perspective on what's going on how to solve particular problems, and on what's possible, frankly.
Agreed. Yeah. And it's a great event when people hang out after the event ends, like after the day ends, and we're all like sitting in the hotel lobby talking about ideas, like the
Yeah.
creativity that's coming, the energy from everyone. And we're talking about rocket scientists to like PR to marketers to videographers, like Harlem Globetrotter, like the most unique types of individuals that were
Yes.
there, but they had the one thing in common, that they cared about innovation and growing, sustainably their business for the long game, and just also were very open to ideas and receptive, and there was no bad ideas. One of the other things I loved about the Innovate Summit that I borrowed for Now Marketing Group for Social Media Week Lima is that they started off having what they called care connectors. So we just did this like innately with like some of the team members. But what a care connector is people that it could be attendees, it could be sponsors, it could be speakers, but you signed up to make sure that nobody was standing by themselves or sitting by themselves and like, awkwardly, especially if they're like an introvert, that you looked for opportunities to build relationships and connect people together. So like if I met you there and you were sitting, or standing alone, and you tell me that you're looking for me more PR clients, and I then just had a conversation with Joe over here, and he was saying like he's looking for a way to grow his business through word of mouth or online reputation, I'd be like, hey, you guys should connect, and would connect those two people together.
Yep.
So he intentionally did that before the event took place, and asked people to volunteer to be a care connector. And then we've seen that throughout the rest of the event, where these relationships were not only connecting people, but they were connecting people that needed to meet, that may not have met if there wasn't one person to interject and be that connection point for them. So
Yeah.
loved that. Loved that. Loved that.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's something that's pretty unique. I've been to a lot of events, and I haven't seen very many do that. I haven't
mhm,
seen them take that
mhm.
approach. So, and I think it's a game changer.
Agreed. One of my other favorites, oldie but a goodie, is Social Media Marketing World. I do like this one, although I've lobby conned it. I'm not gonna lie, quite a few years, because it is my first like digital marketing conference that I went to, from leaving from Lima, Ohio, where I was social media. People were like, "What? This is just a fad. It's gonna go away," in like 2009, 2010, and I felt like crazy until I met all the people at Social Media Marketing World, where I was like, there's others like me that believe in this, and started forming the best relationships with now lifelong friends that I met there at that conference. And they did things a lot like kind of innovate in a way, not quite to that level, but they were intentional on the experience aspect of making sure there was somebody to give you a high five as soon as you walked in, right? They have like little dance circles. So like experience-based moments that are going to make sure that you feel immersed in the experience there, and are making sure that people are intentionally connecting. They, did the table talks and different things like that, so you could meet like your tribe of people that you wanted to hang out with, and helped people like schedule, and still do help people like schedule their dinners with other like-minded individuals if they're coming, because they're coming from all across the world. And so you got to meet a diverse group of people. That's how I met like many my friends from Australia and got to speak at an event there. But it was that connection hub for me, and one of the events that I really, really enjoy. And that's what really kind of launched Social Media Week Lima, was from going to that event and then wanting to bring something like that to our hometown.
I love it.
Have you ever been? Or
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't.
Yeah, but that one's April 28th to the 30th this year, and now they're doing in Anaheim, California. It's always been in San Diego before, but
okay, nice. Well, I think that one's a pretty good segue into your event.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So obviously, I've not been to one yet. I'm going to be at the upcoming one, but one of the things I love about your approach on that is that it really is built on this kind of relationship model, right? So why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, so Social Media Week Lima is really founded not only just to help, like I said, bring something to our community, but that was, one, affordable, that people could attend, and really something that is relationship marketing focused. So as I mentioned, not only are we promoting the conference and bringing in speakers, some of them that have never spoke on stage before, this is their first opportunity, but I know the character of the person and how they're going to show up. So like, for example, Phil Mershon that was on our show, Chad Peterson that was on our show here, both of them, some of their first time speaking on stage, were at the event and Social Media Week Lima. And then also the intentionality of, we do roundtables versus conference like tables, where it feels like very sterile, like you're not supposed to look at anybody beside you. Like you're just supposed to look ahead at the speaker. Like we do roundtables and we do like connection games for people to be able to connect with one another. So it's like a scavenger hunt. You have to find different things. So just built in experience moments that are going to help you build relationships. Even with the sponsors, we do this. So we're like, we don't want you just to have pamphlets and your like logo behind you in a pull-out banner. We want you to have like something experiential at your booth. So we've done everything from like a VR game where people are going against each other to one of the coffee shops that we're sponsoring remade like the Friends theme, like the cafe where with the couch and stuff, where people could take photos and relax. Wood Flowers place they did where you could make your own like bouquet, but everything is like experiential, right? And the sponsors are not in a lobby away from all the attendees. They're in the room with all of us too. So everything is just intentional to kind of keep the relationships building, and really the full experience being one that just feels comfortable and not as sterile and scary as some big conferences can be.
I love that. Love that.
Yeah. And that's happening June 17th and 18th. And Jeremy will be speaking there this year, as he said. So excited to have you at the event this year.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I got to get my slide deck together here pretty soon.
Yeah. Or George is going to be hunting you down. No. Another one, I don't know. Have you ever attended Inbound?
I have not.
Okay. This one I really do. Okay. So this one I'm going to throw my hat in the ring for them because of the content that's there. But this is one that they're hiring like celebrities and stuff like that to come speak on stage. But they have really great content at this event, and you have to be intentional way ahead of time, because it's like thousands and thousands of marketers and business owners that are attending this event. Some years it's been like 5,000-6,000, I think, on average, that are attending this. Yeah, in Boston. And I've spoken at it a couple times, but the event itself, you feel like you're in college again, like running from one class to another to get into the room. And so it can feel very, very overwhelming. So you have to be very intentional about like how you set aside time to build relationships and know who you're going to connect with ahead of time. So I would say that event is great for the content, but you almost have to build in your own type of experiences that you want to make with others. Do they have great like experience-based moments where you can have an Instagram moment there, here or there? Yes. But are they building in relationship moments? No.
Mm.
That's something like I would host my own dinner, find some people that I'd want to invite and bring them to me, and us connect that way. And then find out what other, happenings were going on that people were hosting kind of their own, and do that where you can truly connect with the right people, where it doesn't seem as overwhelming as trying to meet everyone at that event. So,
Yeah, that's an important thing to bring up. For the people who don't attend events like this all over the place, like we do, um, you have to really be prepared for that drinking from the fire hose situation,
mhm.
right? Because it can get overwhelming pretty damn quickly.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and the content though, like I said, it's great, and you learn the best thing about it is you'll learn like who is the best of the best at what they do, right?
Yeah,
Because that's who these conferences are bringing in to speak. They do their due diligence on bringing in. At least they've the people that have applied, they know like they've seen their content that this person is legit, and so I've always got a lot of great ideas, and HubSpot has done a great job of being ahead of the curve in many cases on knowing like where the future's going
mhm.
as it relates to online marketing. So that's another great thing about that event. So
Yeah.
um, what's another one of yours, Jeremy?
Let's see. I'll hit two in one shot.
Sure.
There's some overlap here. It's a bit of a Venn diagram, so to speak. But two that I absolutely love is Family Mastermind and Coaching
Mm,
Inc. Now, I don't remember the dates off the top of my head, but they do two events per year. Both of them have their events coming up. I think one is in March and one is in April. But the event itself is just part of their model. So these are actually mastermind groups. So there's all kinds of stuff going on throughout the year, right? They have weekly calls where they're teaching all kinds of stuff. They're connecting the members, like we talked about.
mhm.
It's just this. It's more of a community, and then the events are just where you go to learn and meet these people face to face twice a year. But Family Mastermind and Coaching Inc. Both of these are really more focused on the real estate industry, more specifically coaching within the real estate industry. But these
Mm,
are some of the top people in the industry. I was just having a call with one of the guys in, I think he's actually in both of these groups. But this is a very high level group. Like we're talking like 30K a year to be a member.
wow.
Um, but these are people that you won't get access to in any other scenario. The guy I was talking to today, I've known him for probably 6-7 years at this point. He's spending 100K a month on his ads, or not a month. I'm sorry, a week. 100K a week. He just hit that target of 100K a week,
Wow.
which to me is absolutely insane. And in his case, like he's doing it because he wants to basically gobble up all of the inventory within his market and dominate that. But these are the kind of people who are at the top of the
Smart.
food chain,
Hmm.
and they're just absolutely crushing it. And they've got their market really figured out, and they know what works and what doesn't work. But they're also the ones who are at the cutting edge of everything: social media, ads, SEO, branding, all of the things that we have to do in business. These guys are not only already at the top of the game, but they're also constantly innovating because they have to
Hmm.
stay there. And it's
Yeah.
a really good opportunity to learn, made all the mistakes, right? That's a great way to avoid having to make those mistakes yourself, which is time consuming, it's expensive, and it's frustrating. So those are two of my favorite. I've been involved with those since the beginning. There, it's very much a community. It's talking at the events. We're talking throughout the year, and some of these people I'm talking to, several times a week on a regular basis. So, that's what I love about that. If I have a problem, I don't know how to achieve a certain thing. Maybe I'm running into some stumbling block like we all do. I know there's somebody in that group that I can reach out to and call and say, hey, like, I know you've already had this problem. What did you do to get through it? And they're 99 times out of 100, somebody in that group is going to have the answer that's going to save me a lot of time, money, and headaches.
That's awesome. Yeah, and a lot of times, like you said, they have to keep innovating to stay on top because they're already so far ahead, but they have to keep that momentum going. So it honestly gives you a little wiggle room if you're going to these events, like, okay, I see what's coming, so I need to start prepping on that now. But following, not being the smartest person in the room is a good thing, because you want to surround yourself with people that are going to help you level up, right? So I love that. Jeremy, why don't you talk about your event too?
All right. We haven't nailed down the dates for it yet. I think it's going to be June 5th, but this is the Dominate Entrepreneurial Summit. And you are going to be one of the speakers there.
Oh, yay.
Well, we talked about that. Yeah. So we've got essentially the way we've got this set up. Last year, we had 3 panels on 3 different topics. One was public relations, marketing, and branding. One was leveraging artificial intelligence. And the other was mindset, overcoming adversity, and building resilience. And so we had panels with 3 speakers, and they would talk, and then we had a Q&A session where people could basically ask whatever they wanted. And the event went really well. We had the particular time slot for the event, but everybody stuck around for like 3 or 4 hours afterwards, long after it was over with. Everybody was just hanging around, talking, networking. A lot of opportunities came out of that. We're actually adding some things to it this year. So in addition to the panels, and we've added a 4th panel on finance as well. But we've also got, so there's a virtual and an in-person component to this. In between those panels, we're going to have co-hosts basically talking to the online audience about some of the takeaways from the panels. But then in between, while the panels are going, we've got people who are experts in various things, and people will have the opportunity to go sit down with them in a room and ask them questions and get personalized advice right there on the spot. So it's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot to gain from this, a lot of knowledge, a lot of connections, a lot of resources. And, we're just trying to bring even more value this year compared to what we did last year. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and there's going to be a lot of insight to be gained from it.
That's awesome. It's always hard to trump yourself, right? Like when you're like, this was awesome. How do I make it even better? Yeah. But I know we're already out of time, which goes by fast. I'm going to do some honorable mentions really quick. And then also just a reminder, everyone, if we do a recap of this, so I'll put the links, the dates, everything in our recap blog. If you're looking for a list of events to attend this year for the long game, or check them out. But based on our recommendations, you can scope it out and see if it makes sense for you, because there's a diverse group of different types of events here, but all of them that we've gained value from. So I'm definitely going to mention Content Marketing World. It used to always happen in Cleveland. Now it's happening in Denver, but it's all about content. That one's in October 5th and 6th. Traffic and Conversion Summit. That one's in April. So that one is typically in San Diego, California, at the big convention center there. Heard lots of great things. I've actually not attended myself personally, but I have a lot of people that recommended that one. And I know a lot of the people that have spoken there. What's that?
I said same.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard nothing but great things. So it just ended up not working out for me because it overlapped with a different event. But that's definitely one I've heard nothing but positive things about from people I trust. So that one, there's another one if you're looking at traveling outside of the country, in the UK, Atomicon. This is hosted by my friends, and I'll put the link in here, but it's a really fun event. They're digital marketers. Andrew and Pete is their name. They're co-owners of their brand, and host this event together and bring in really well-known speakers as well from all across. Speakers, when I say speakers, I mean thought leaders, not like the celebrities, but in our world of like people that really know what they're doing in marketing and then the top of the game. They bring those in, but they have a lot of fun with it. They're so stinking creative. Like those guys are great. So that one, and then the Adobe Summit, I've heard great things about as well. Not been to that one. But those are some that are honorable mentions, and we'll put the list of all of these events in the recap blog. So if you visit nowmarketinggroup.com/the long game, I dropped the link in the comments here. Feel free to subscribe to the blog, and we'll send you the recap of all of these, the dates and the links for you to check it out.
Love it.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us today. We will be back next Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Can't wait to see you all then. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks, everyone.
Take care, everyone.